Aujourd'hui, je vais parler, what are our cat, Mr. Fluffy's actual travel possibilities? I mean, we all know cats are great at guarding the castle, but do they have dreams of islands and country estates like their humans do? Oh, look at how cute he is. Let's explore that. Hey, XenPuck here. The other day making video about cats with our cat, even though I'm still getting used to the idea that this is indeed our cat at this point. I mean, Mr. Fluffy, you're already a senior kitty. But are we really buddies? I know you always love your mama better, but whatever. I'm okay with that. You're still a good boy because you're so fluffy, so fluffy. Look at him. Or rather, do you want to travel with us like your humans do, right? More importantly, can you realistically travel outside of your currently defined territory, okay? And I'll define his currently defined territory as this house. So we'll start from there, and I'll break down my analysis based on distance from our house. Obviously, because I call it castle. Number one, short distance, which is right outside on our deck, or within the walls of our yard, more specifically. Oh, look at him. We're paranoid, and we pretty much watch him like a hawk, right? I'd say, so that really the generic answer is no, we're not really actually comfortable with him just being in our yard even, right? Heck, losing my wifey's cat is one of my biggest fears in life. I mean, I know we're married and all, but she's reportedly told me that I am a strong number 3 behind cat number 1 and her mom during the holiday season being number 2. And I'm okay with that. So I live in fear that somehow if I was the only person watching the cat in our yard, he'll somehow chase a squirrel over a fence and then get out the street and end up being hit by a car or something. Because that would be literally the worst, right? Well, we are redoing the landscaping and our entire backyard soon enough, so maybe we could build maybe like a little play area for him. We'll see. Oh, what are you looking at? What's up there? What's up there? Oh. Number 2, medium distance. Do we take our cats on walks or on bike rides or just generally around the neighborhood? So we did actually start trying some version of this, right? By putting Mr. Fluffy in a cat backpack. It's a really pretty adorable accessory that basically lets a cat breathe and look outside a little plastic bubble that's on the back of a backpack, right? However, I don't think we've done this enough because the few times that we have done it, Mr. Fluffy pretty much just hides at the very bottom corner of the cat backpack when we took him on a walk, even around just the apartment compound that wifey used to live at. He didn't seem to be enjoying the views or even trying to look outside at all, right? I have hopes that we can change his mind if we actually took him out like this more often, but so far, so bad. And the other problem with this is that this type of outing still kind of requires a leash, as we tried to let him out of the cat backpack when we got to like a little park grassland area. But even with a leash on, I think he just hid actually in the bag because of all the external stimuli of a relatively quiet park. That might have been too much for him. I mean, I still think that this type of trips, at least for this type of trips, practice may make perfect. So maybe we'll start doing this again. After all, to be honest, carrying this cat in a backpack is good exercise. Not for him, but for me. So. And finally, point number 3, right? Long distance travel. Now here's where all the travel destinations that we've covered in the Mr. Fluffy series would come into play, right? Realistically, would I take our cat with us on trips that involve a car or a plane even? Now, we have learned that this cat is capable of surviving a very long car ride because we drove more than a day to get to Texas during the pandemic, right? So that was fun. By fun, I mean not really. It was neither fun for the humans and especially not for Mr. Fluffy, okay? I mean, he didn't eat or go potty for a whole day. This is despite our efforts. During the trip, we stopped several times to try to urge him to do his daily duties. But alas, no bites, okay? Frankly, I was quite amazed at how much he could endure since no human can go that long without like even a drink of water, right? So this is where cat as territorial animals really shows, right? I think he was just very uncomfortable, and he cannot be comfortable without knowing his immediate surroundings, and that takes, well, time to adjust to, right? Like, I have no idea how the van life people, some of them have cats, like, I don't know how they work, you know, or maybe they're just really lucky and found that type of rare cat, because our cat pretty much freaks out if we take him to the vet, to like a five-minute drive in a carrier. Like, he will just sit in his carrier making that low grumbling noise that just says, "Why are you people torturing me? Please die." Or that's how I interpret it anyway. So we do try to not torture Mr. Fluffy when we don't have to. So say when we go to visit family during the holidays, I do find it pretty lucky that this cat is quite friendly and will come out and hang out with the cat sitters while we're away, right? So that's one solution, but not one where Mr. Fluffy actually gets to go anywhere, right? At the end of the day, I think we know it takes him maybe up to a week to familiarize with himself with new surroundings, and we wouldn't think of jerking him around to new places constantly, unless we were somewhere for quite a while, right? I'd say at least more than 6 months, maybe even a year. And yet, if we were moving for that long, I imagine it wouldn't be in the same continent as we are in now. And other issues will arise, especially for pets, right? I'm thinking Mr. Fluffy, let's say if we move to France for a while, right? He would have to go into quarantine, even if we're back in normal non-pandemic times, right? With the pandemic going, I don't know how long the quarantine will be. This is, again, I think this would be a huge ordeal for him. Like, if he can't stand being at a vet without his humans for like an hour, like, how much torturous must it feel for a multi-week quarantine in a place that's completely foreign to him, right? So strangely, even for long trips, I'm actually leaning towards dropping him off with, you know, family members that he already knows. So that's very sad. So yeah, my conclusion is I just don't know if it's worth making Mr. Fluffy do the tremendous like act of adjusting to a new location unless we absolutely were sure to stay for a significant amount of time, right? But the problem here is that since we're exploring different locations, or will be around the world, it's unlikely we'll know where we'd really love to stay and stick around for especially like more than 6 months to at least a year, until we actually go to a bunch of places. And in the meantime, for a cat who likes the familiar, and this is definitely one of those cats, he is, you know, he wants to go outside, but he retreats back to his castle very, very easily, right? I think for him, this might just be too much. Have you guys ever traveled with a pet? Was it worth it? Did it work? Am I missing something major? Let me know in the comments below, and sub and like and all that nonsense. Or whatever. Cheers. À la prochaine. So cute.